Damaged Defenders by Sherza. Chapter 15. Pepper, Fury, and General Ross. Pepper descended on the Stark Industries Public Relations Department first thing in the morning. Where are we at setting up a campaign blitz? She wanted to know when she found Henry, the head of the department and a shrewd, capable operator after her own heart, who had helped her salvage more than one Tony snafu over the years. We've already got an awareness ad going, Henry said. Had it about an hour after the attack ended. Nothing but cameras still from the fight, but it'll hold us until we get something more polished on the airwaves, which we ought to have completed before lunch. Excellent! I want a heavy positive focus on Hulk and the two S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, and I want their code names to be on everyone's lips. Henry gave her a piercing look. There's more you're not telling me. Pepper nodded. But for this, we need a more private conference. My office awaits, Henry told her, motioning towards the open door. Once they were inside, Pepper locked eyes with Henry. I want you to prepare a negative media blitz against General Ross and S.H.I.E.L.D., but do not release it, she told him. She tapped her tablet. I've just transferred a few files to your tablet for your perusal, so you know why and where to hit them if we need to. Henry immediately grabbed his tablet and rapidly flipped through the files. He didn't get far before he was actively growling. Oh, it's going to be my pleasure, Miss Potts. I'll get working on that right away and make sure the team knows to slant towards the three you mentioned. We're lucky in that we pretty much have our choice of nicely heroic shots to use, even for the Hulk. Actually, especially him. He took down one of the whales almost single-handed. Pepper nodded. Your second challenge, should you choose to accept it, she told him, grinning wryly at him for the joke, is to prepare a positive angle media blitz that focuses solely on the mutant defenders. Their codenames are in one of the files I sent you. We need to get people to realize that mutants can be heroes as well as villains. Henry nodded firmly. You got it, Miss Potts. It'll be easy enough to do up the two campaigns and run them side by side. I'll contact you when we're ready to start broadcasting. Excellent, Henry. I'll talk to you later. That done, Pepper headed for her next stop, the company legal team. She put them to digging up every scrap of law and precedent that could possibly apply to the S.H.I.E.L.D. and Ross situations. She was by no means fool enough to think she wouldn't need it. To be perfectly honest, she was surprised Fury hadn't tried something already. Ross, at least, would have to get here before he could cause a problem. From there, she had to liaise with the emergency services personnel who would set up command centers on the lower levels of Stark Tower, mostly to ensure they had what they needed to be able to coordinate their own forces and work out which of the hero defenders would be working with which group today. About that time, she got a ping from Jarvis notifying her that the Avengers had left for Asgard, time of return unknown. Pepper frowned slightly for a moment before she smoothly changed around the roster. While it was irritating that some of the people who needed exposure so badly wouldn't be available, it was, on the other hand, going to do the mutant half of the Defenders that bit more good. That done, Pepper headed for her own office to tackle the various other tasks she would have to deal with. The board needed soothing, for one, though thankfully since Stane's plans had been weeded out, they've become a good deal less alarmist. They seemed to be realizing that Tony had a stunning ability to land in shit and come out smelling like the best perfume. Then there was organizing and confirming a number of deliveries. There was construction and waste removal equipment, bottled water, and generators that needed to get to the various affected people. And with the scale of the attack and the damage done, the more people distributing, the better. She also arranged for Stark Industries heavy-lift helicopters to assist in hauling debris away from the center of the war zone to where wheeled vehicles could take over, as there were relatively few helicopters with that sort of lift capability available. She also sent a large donation and a Stark Industries construction crew to help fix the damage to the subway system, which had fortunately been fairly light. The area hit by the invasion was going to be depending solely on the subway for a while, as the streets and bridges would be impassable for months, no matter how fast everyone worked. She then sent a note to the transportation development teams to try to figure out some sort of vehicle capable of moving over any terrain or water. It wouldn't be ready before the streets were fixed, but if they could figure something out, it would be invaluable in other disaster areas and earn SI a mint in sales. She'd just wrapped that up when Jarvis informed her that Rhodey had completed his mission and was currently flying Dr. Ross to the tower and would be there within a few minutes. Pepper smiled, then told Jarvis to tell Rhodey to relax in the penthouse suite and she'd be up to see him when she got a chance. She'd just finished talking to Henry and approving the new campaigns when Jarvis banged her again to get her attention. "Miss Potts, Director Fury is on the line." Pepper grinned viciously. "Put him on, Jarvis, by all means." Fury had been having a really bad week. First, Barton had been compromised and he'd been shot. That wasn't so bad. The getting shot, that is. Barton getting compromised, Fury had taken as a godsend. He hated the insolent little shit from the word go and had fully expected Coulson to put a bullet in the brat's head. It had never ceased to burn him up that Coulson managed to get Barton to work with him well enough that Fury couldn't excuse losing the son of a bitch. Shield had no place for disrespectful loose cannons that Fury hadn't been able to capitalize on Barton's compromised state to kill him, burn Fury up. Then that Stark bastard had to run into the Freak Brigade for help fighting the aliens that were coming. Then everyone had mysteriously gone incommunicado. He hadn't been able to get a call through to the tower where he knew damn well everyone had gone in order to order Barton and Romanoff back to HQ. He was blaming Stark for that one too. The ad and news campaign flashing Barton and Romanoff's faces all over the place was just the icing on the cake. He needed to regain control and he needed to do it now. At least the call had finally got through. Better yet, to Potts. "Put me through to Stark, Potts, wherever he's hiding. Or better yet, tell my team to get their asses back to HQ. "I'm sorry, Director, but the Avengers are not available for interview at this time," Potts said. Had Fury mentioned he loathed Stark's piece of tail on the side? Fury was convinced that this is the sole reason Potts had gotten as far as she did. What other use did Stark have for a pretty face? Pepper was enjoying stonewalling Fury. She knew exactly what Fury thought about her. He'd hardly been the first or the last to think along those lines. She loved it when people like him underestimated her like that. It made her inevitable victory all the sweeter. She wrangled back and forth with him for several minutes before Jarvis sent her a discreet ping, then flashed a message across a surface that Fury could not see, followed by several pages of a file. Pepper got one good look and very nearly laughed. Someone in the law department was going to get a hell of a pay raise because not even she had known this. She didn't think anyone did. Director Fury, a question if I may. Are you aware to whom your agency owes its ultimate existence? Pepper asked. Fury gave her a dirty look. The SSR was our parent organization, he said in a "how do you not know this" tone of voice. Pepper smiled. Actually, Director, you are incorrect. After the loss of Captain Rogers, the SSR was shut down and disbanded completely. After all, it had been born for the Super Soldier Project, and with the sole example lost, and no possibility of creating more and no more war, the agency was redundant. Pepper said, at that time, Howard Stark took upon himself the financial responsibility for locating Captain Rogers, retaining many of the old SSR staff under his employ for that purpose, as they had been comrades in arms for years. Fury wasn't entirely stupid. From the look on his face, he knew where this was going. Even at the time of his death, Howard was apparently well aware his time was running out, Pepper said, though I doubt he anticipated his death quite so young. He set up a fund and contracts so that the search for the captain could continue unabated in the event of his death. It is from this beginning that S.H.I.E.L.D. sprang. Which meant, in simpler language, that S.H.I.E.L.D. wasn't actually a government agency. It was a private one that had been put together by and answered to Howard Stark. And from the, still on paper, files someone in the law offices had found and copied, Howard had ensured that the infant agency he'd fathered would remain under Stark control due to his desire to find the captain for at least a proper burial, if nothing else. They were still receiving quite a chunk of their annual income from the fund Howard had set up. To boot, Fury had essentially performed a hostile takeover unbeknownst to herself, or even Tony, though she didn't wonder if perhaps Stain had known. She wouldn't put it past him. Now, seeing as Stark Industries is actually your parent organization, the Avengers Initiative falls under our banner. as to the people assigned to the initiative, which means the Avengers are under Stark Industries' employ, and I have deployed them as I see fit." Pepper smiled at Fury serenely. Fury didn't miss what she had said. Yes, she had laid claim to the Avengers, essentially telling him to back off, but there had been another threat there. "I can and will shut you down if you fuck with me." He gave an inarticulate snarl and signed off. "May I offer my congratulations, Miss Potts?" Jarvis asked. Pepper grinned. "Jarvis, whoever found those records, make sure they get the biggest pay raise and bonus in Stark Industries history, because that was pure gold." "I quite agree, Miss Potts, and have so informed to the payroll department," Jarvis told her. Pepper got another hour's work done before Jarvis suddenly interrupted, sans ping this time. "Miss Potts, you should know that an army team under the leadership of General Ross has been spotted making their way towards the tower." Pepper scowled. "I know he isn't here at the moment, Jarvis, but lock down the Avengers levels. Full protocols. I don't want anyone in or out of there that doesn't belong there. You have the current list of permitted persons. That way, if they come back before I run Ross off, Bruce will feel safe." "Done, Miss Potts. Shall I alert the X-Men as to the situation?" "Warn them they're going to have to be careful of the elevator," she said, "so they don't accidentally let someone into it with them. But hold off on bringing them back to the tower for now. I want to see how Ross plays it first." "Very well, Miss Potts," Jarvis said. He left a screen up for her so she could watch the general's progress through the city. Ross would never give up on capturing and containing the monster. So when he'd seen it rampaging around New York City, again, he'd scrambled his team together as soon as possible to pick up the monster's trail. He would have the monster one way or another. He would control it and recreate it, and he would be forever vindicated and remembered in history as the man who revolutionized warfare as man knew it. It didn't take long to find where the monster had gone. Stark was sheltering it. Well, Ross would fix that. He owed that man one after his condescension a year ago. Who was Stark to question him? An army general? Hadn't Stark learned to listen to his betters? He stomped into the lobby of Stark Tower and snorted when Stark's run-the-cops tried to stop him and his men. "Stand aside. We have government business to attend to." "I'm sorry, General Ross, but we have been told to bar you entrance," the man in the lead said, giving Ross a level look. "I am an army general on a military mission. You will not bar me from that mission," Ross snapped, motioning his men forward. "I sincerely doubt the army has signed off on enslaving someone, sir," the man snapped, his tone loaded with contempt and scorn. Behind him, the rent-a-cops pulled their weapons. Ross nodded to his men. But before they could do anything, two things happened at once. One, the rent-a-cops started shooting, and two, his men started dropping their guns. It took a few seconds before Ross realized the two things were not fully connected. The shots proved to be some sort of anesthetic dart rather than bullets. As were his men dropping their weapons, the floor seemed to have magnetized abruptly. Clever. Stark had evidently outfitted his security teams with non-metal weapons, banking on the fact that most invaders would use weapons that were either entirely or a good percentage metal. The security chief had the gall to smirk at Ross. Ross snarled, turned, and stormed out, leaving his unconscious soldiers to their fates.